the global positioning of India in the gear market industry. One thing as a topic to come together around, and I know that AGMA is addressing that in their standards, and of course I take it from supplying to the gearbox industry of bearings, is also how the bearings are represented in the gearboxes. And what we see is that there is a quite, it's a quite cultural, industrial cultural, not geographical culture, to keep to a very conservative life method for bearings, which in a way, if an industry comes together and utilizes the methods that have been developed for the last 50, 60, 70 years, including factors of contamination and lubrication, this would allow the gearbox designers to take advantages from other competitors that are not utilizing that methods. So it's a statement from me as supplying to this industry that we have methods and technology that can be further utilized in your gearboxes. So that's just a comment. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm glad that you spoke, because when you're talking about gearboxes without quality bearings, as we know, and the higher efficiency, the bearings play, every time we have a show in America, and I'm speaking from the AGMA part of it, we always have a joint show between the American gear manufacturers and the American bearing manufacturers, because these two industries go hand in glove. You can have a fantastic gearbox, but very poor quality bearings. And I'd like to make a remark over here that there was a time when bearings was a very, very challenging procurement item. I don't think that's there anymore. I can again speak for ourselves. We have SKF in Bangalore, and they have gone out of the way with a small customer like us to come, talk to us, educate us, get involved with a gearbox program that could be for defense or for a very high end. And I must say, we learned a lot. And we also realized we saved a lot of money by not sticking to the run-of-the-mill choice. They educated us on which is a better method. Maybe unit price, the bearings may have been more expensive, but as a total package, we came out with a much, much better product. So I thank you for bringing up this point. I think it was a very valid point.
I share my experience in the sugar industry in a bigger size of planetary gearbox which we use for mill drives. The right selection of bearing for the right application played a very important role for us. So in some of the gearboxes, they given some second and third rated gear bearing which just gave us problem. Whereas in the SKF bearings and other bearings which are very standard bearing, and the right application are suitable for the temperature and the oil selection, which we properly made it has played a very good role. So we are happy in some of the gearboxes they are really applying their mind to put a proper bearing and proper temperatures. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Sundaram. I also want to add to what Mr. Sundaram said. I think bearings for us constitute almost 10% of our cost of making a gearbox. So it's very significant. And I think we have completely analyzed the bearings that are available out there in the market, right from some Chinese-made bearings to very low end to the highest end, which probably your company makes and few others make. And I think there is absolutely, we concluded that there is absolutely no reason or benefit in moving away from some of the established brands. And I think I'm proud to say my own company, Shanti, just buys bearings from one company, 90%, and then one other company we buy the second, the rest, which is 10%. And I'm really proud to say that the bearings guys have actually made us the #1 quality brand in India. And but for this policy of not shifting to any other make of bearings is what is holding us in good stead. And I think when I went to a European show last time, the kind of products that SKF and FAG and others had, Timken also, I think it's amazing much the gearbox industry can learn, guys. And especially in a country like India, where there is a lot of dust ingress into the gearboxes, which causes a lot of failures. I think SKF has, and also the others, have some fantastic products that can prevent dust, that can work for a long time. Even the quality of oil that we use in the gearbox, the deterioration due to oil, I think they have excellent products that will prevent the seals from deteriorating. I think the bearing industry actually can, even though it's probably a low class item for us, in the gearbox industry, I think we can end up learning quite a bit from the bearing industry. I think Senthil asked about testing. I think the bearing industry is actually leading the way in testing. So I think those are some of the learnings we can have from the bearing industry. And I think again, let me belabor the point a little bit. I think coming together has its advantages, and I think if the gear industry comes together, works together, as Mr. Kutty said, I think we can leverage the strength. I think we can work closely with the big three of bearings in India, which is FAG, SKF, and Timken. And I think we can learn, we can force them to develop special products for us for the industrial segment. And I think to people like Mr. Sundaram and Mr. Nigam, that we have jointly developed these special bearings for your specific application. And I think that's the way.
Well, since we're on the subject of bearings, I have a question myself to the bearing manufacturer now that we have SKF over here. We've had some very, very unfortunate experiences when I do believe we made an excellent gearbox, but the bearings failed. And it had a brand name bearing. I don't remember which company it was. Subsequently, we discovered that the bearings were not original. They had a brand name and they were not original. Now, maybe on behalf of all the gear industry and the gearbox manufacturers, I would like the bearing companies to open up a little window whereby when we get into this critical bearing procurement, because quite often we can't deal with the companies, we have to do it through a dealer. And then there are dealers and dealers. Is there any way that we can work with the bearing company where we send the bearings that we have bought, a high-cost bearing, and it be clarified whether it's the real, if it's a fake, or if it's a genuine, because this is costing a lot of money and there's a huge racket that's going on. And this, I do believe, and I don't know if all of us sitting here agree with this, that if there is a window that can support us, I think that will be brilliant. So if you believe there's some answer to this kind of a question. Yeah.
I fully endorse Mr. Suleiman. The bearing duplication is really giving us problem in the industry. Not only the gearbox, even for our other application also, the duplicate bearing in the market, which we are not able to find out. So as Mr. Suleiman told, there should be some way for the end users to set it. Thank you.
Yes, it's an important topic for sure. One thing is the quality that you want to buy, and one is to know that you buy the right one. We are together with our big competitors as well. This is a huge topic for the bearing industry. What I can say, the fastest and easiest way is to make sure to purchase your bearing through authorized distributors or directly through the companies. We have on our webpage, we have a list of the authorized distributors, and if there is any questions at all, whether this channel is an official channel from SKF or if there is any of our competitors, I would say that just give a quick call about this, if this is an official sales channel of SKF, and you would immediately know if it is reliable or not. I think that is one of the easiest way to really make sure 100%, because sometimes even I can say that on a visual sort, just looking at them, it could be quite difficult just to say whether it is right or wrong. So the safest is to make sure that the sales or your purchasing channels are the correct ones. But it's a big topic, and it's addressed really from SKF side. We have a group just dedicated to work to all of these locations to really make sure that that the products that we sell and that you receive are the ones that are correct. Otherwise, it's a huge brand risk for us and any of our high-end competitors as well.
Thank you for that, yeah.
I just want to, leave you with a funny story, because I remember going to a dealer in Hyderabad asking for an SKF bearing, and the guy actually told me, do you want a 200 rupee SKF or a 400 rupee SKF or a 1200 rupee SKF? We have everything, and it's the same bearing, looks the same, but it's 200, 400 and 1200. And he said the 1200 probably is the real one and the other two are, we don't know. So I think that is what's happening in the market, especially in India. And I think, I just want to leave this thought with you. With the MEMS technology today, there is IT enablement, there is RFID, there is microchips. I think if you guys can do something with all that combined or individually and use the IT enablement to really track your bearings, and then when somebody opens a packet of SKF bearings, there is a light going off somewhere in Sweden saying, yeah, you guys picked the right one. I think HP, wonderful job. I think when you put in the right cartridge, they actually tell you, they give you a small prize for using a genuine HP cartridge in their printers. So I think I'm just leaving you with a thought. Maybe it's completely infeasible to execute, but I think we in the industry really would like you to do something so that when we buy SKF, it is SKF. When we buy Timken, it is Timken. Maybe you guys should come together and do something about this. Thank you.
Well, I think we all agree that we have this serious problem, but like Dr. Sriram said, sadly, and I'm stating very, very sadly, some of the fakes look better than the original, And when you said the visual is very, very deceiving. I think we have a question from Mr. Philip Mascarenhas.
Yeah. I represent an industry that supports a lot of gear machine manufacturers from the West as well as from Japan and Germany. Over the years, we have found that it's very difficult to get youngsters today to work with us in service and application. Most of them go across and work in manufacturing industries or gear machine manufacturers. Do you not think that there is a need to set up some sort of institution that trains youngsters that are coming out of the engineering colleges and the diploma institutes in gear manufacturing? I know IMTMA is trying to develop this interest by conducting a series of seminars, and we are also trying to help them by deputing some of us service and application people. But I think as an organization, if manufacturers, gear manufacturers and gear machine manufacturers also are setting a base in India, can create some sort of an organization, pretty much like what is done in the die mold industry. I think then you will churn out a lot of youngsters who are familiar with gear manufacturing technology, who would be able to go out into the industry, work with different type of companies, and you'll find probably much better people to work in the industry.
Well, that is a very pertinent question, Philip, and coincidentally, I do believe that when Mr. Joe Franklin, we were having dinner last night, this subject was pretty much the discussion over dinner, exactly what you were talking about. So I think Soundarajan and Joe are here. They may want to add a little to and probably address your question.
Right. The issue of education and training is extremely important to our association because it's important to our industry. One of the interesting and valuable things about an association in a country, if it's working correctly, is that it responds to the voice of the industry, the voice of the customer. And we've tried to do that in the U.S. and have expanded our education programs dramatically. One of my